Fairy Tail chapter 482 is out. Or was out yesterday, and I was feeling a bit under the weather. Again. Better now! So, here we go, dive into this chapter. We finish off the fight between Nainhart and Erza, which rather than ending a fight, is just Erza getting the living shit beaten and molested out of her by her former enemies. Some people say how she finished that fight, or at least that section of the fight, because if Jalal's eyes don't say one thing, it's definitely that he's going to be the next up to fight. Just like, you hurt my woman. Like Vegeta in Battle of Gods. Like, you touch my Bulma! And boom. You know, power up the wazoo. The power of boners is strong in this one. Probably going to be saying that more often, given this kind of shit. But, yeah. Erza literally scared away her enemies. Most people consider this bullshit. I'm somewhere in between. Some people consider Fairy Tail an ass pull occasionally. I think it's great storytelling, great art. I've always loved the Manga back from Rave Master, and I've never been disappointed with Fairy Tail. Ever. I know a lot of reviewers have dropped Fairy Tail specifically because they felt weird, but I've read all of Rave Master. I know exactly what I was in for when I started Fairy Tail. So, then again, I'm more open-minded than most people, so I'll take that into account. Either way, I will at the very least say that it was a very good chapter minus the Erza, you know, as most people will call an ass. But like I said, I'm in between with that. Because, honestly, as much fun as it would be to see her fight all three of them again and actually win, at the same time, I was like, fuck this. The third of them was literally just killed, didn't even feel that long ago, to be honest. So I was like, we don't need her back, even though she took the forefront out of the three of them for this chapter, you know, tying up Erza, giving her a little flashback to that torture / molestation, while the other two are just like, what the fuck? Because here's what I didn't like about the Historia, in Erza's case at least. The little parts with the rest of them, that being said, I'll get into Gray's later, because that's different and actually worked out much better than Erza's. But we all saw, excuse me if I butcher the name, Kyorza, whatever, a long time, like not that long ago. She's been dead for, what was it, maybe a year and a half, you know, our time. So not exactly too fond of that. They're already done with Simon, right? So yeah, Simon was gone last chapter. But and then the guy from Hades' arc, yeah, he ended kind of, I liked his arc. It felt as if his character arc finished perfectly. Out of all the villains in that arc, his was probably the one I liked the most. Because the other ones were one-dimensional in that arc. So when he was brought back here, with like memories changed and everything, it felt forced. It was weird. And it's funny how Jalel doesn't say anything. How he says stuff about Simon, but he doesn't say anything about the other girl. Because I'm going to be honest, I can't even remember her. I know she was from Jalal's arc. But the thing is, I didn't even realize she was dead. I'm going to be honest. Besides Simon, I really didn't think anyone else had died in that arc. Maybe she just didn't get out of the building in time when Ethereon, you know, popped down on it. I don't know. Maybe she did. Maybe that cut actually killed her. Honestly, manga are sometimes kind of vague with deaths, unless it's one of those kind where you just, you know, punch right through a person or cut someone up something. Fairy Tail has always been somewhere in between with that. There are the occasional killed ones, ironically, mostly Erza's fights. But at least by the Tartarus arc, it was completely obvious that these ones were going to die. But I never really felt fatality in the early arcs. Simon, or now I guess which has been disproven with whoever the fuck that other lady is, Simon I felt was the first real death we felt in the series. I mean, I can't recall any other deaths prior to Simon's. And while death does occasionally pop up between Simon and the Tartarus arc, up until the Tartarus arc and right before the time skip before the Magic Games arc, basically up until Hades arc, there weren't that many deaths. There were almost no deaths that I can really think of other than Simon's. No, I still can't think of any. There weren't any deaths in the Oricon 6. None. The one where they introduced Gajeel, I don't remember there being any deaths. Yeah, death is not much of a thing in Fairy Tail, honestly. It just doesn't pop the fuck up. Just not there. I've never really seen it, take foot in the story. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. So, it only started taking place when the story got more serious, as many would probably quote. Honestly, I like the serious tone, but I also like that with some of the recent shit, it hasn't forgotten the core of the series. So I get like Rave Master chills sometimes when I read, more of the recent chapters. Especially with God Serena. Whew! That was... the death was sudden, but shit like that had been pulled in other series, including Rave Master, where death was more apparent. But then again, it was more in the second half than the first. So that nice little parallel between past work and present work. Regardless, for all those who say bullshit to how Erza ended, I say, no, that's just how the story goes. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's how it is. It doesn't seem out of place for what Fairy Tail is. And Fairy Tail is not an asspull. It's kind of like how Naruto debated half of his enemies into, destroying themselves from Nagato onwards. So, yeah. Killing is not the solution to everything. But fighting is not the solution to everything. That's something... people sometimes tend to forget that manga have morals that they want to get across. There's stories, but there's also not just the stories, but the message to the readers. People tend to forget that and just want to see full-on carnage. And I'll admit that occasionally I like action to a point where some call me an action tard, which I humbly refute, because I'm more of a plot guy, in all honesty. But when it comes down to it, it's all each individual reader's preference. Like I said, I am way, way more open-minded than most people. Seriously. To each their own. You don't force others to read what they don't want to read. They read what they want, they like what they like, and we like what we like. So if you like Fairy Tail, you're probably watching this video. If you don't like Fairy Tail, then you're probably going to, put the comments full of nasty things about how this chapter was an ass-pull chapter. So be it. For those of us who enjoy Fairy Tail, or enjoy manga and anime for what it is, also leave your comments down below. Honestly, have fun with it. That's what this is. It's entertainment. Although I'm going to be honest, watching comment wars are not very entertaining. Quite terrifying, honestly. But that being said, I've reached my point. You guys enjoy the chapter. Oh, nope. Gray. Almost forgot Gray. Almost. It was just a small part of the chapter, but nonetheless, Gray and was handled a lot better. And for all the people who like action, yeah, that means Gray will still be there in that, next chapter, or whenever we get back to him, they'll take on her, and Jalel will take on Ninhart face on. Because that's one thing that, actually, no, it was parallel to Erza's. But, you know from Gray, he's a lot stronger than when he first, was taught by her. A lot stronger. Even more so in the last few arcs. So, there's a lot more of a difference. He's no longer just the weak little ice make boy. He's an ice make, I don't want to say master, because that could also start a comment war. Anything could start a comment war. But he's really good at it, a lot better than he definitely was as a kid. And even at the beginning of the series. Plus, he's the Ice Demon Slayer. Magic. Whatever. It's hard with these names. So, that is my final piece. That is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I apologize for being a day late with this. But regardless, it's not like there aren't other reviewers who put out their shit days late. And still put out good work. Me, somewhere in between. But regardless, check out my other reviews. I've been reviewing The Gray Man, Hunter x Hunter, Bleach, and, what else? One Piece. That one hasn't gotten too many looks at. But I will also be reviewing the, Naruto one-shot when that comes out later this week. But I'll make a separate video, doing that, and I guess a recap of Naruto Gaiden. Just for shits and giggles. So, yeah, I'm sorry for, droning on for too long. Gotta do what you gotta do. So, wish you guys a happy afternoon. Y'all be safe. Till next time. Laters.